Hey, church family. Hope you're doing well today. I wanted to give a brief announcement and word of encouragement regarding children's ministry, in particular the Children's Equipping Hour that we have on Wednesday nights. In case you didn't already know, during the school year from about mid-September to around mid-April or so, we on Wednesday nights have a Children's Equipping Hour. And this upcoming year, it'll be basically for 5 years old up to sixth grade. So here's both a good thing and an opportunity. The good thing is, with the increase of the amount of ages that will be in that ministry on Wednesday evenings, also comes the need for more volunteers. Now, I know if you're listening to this, you might be thinking to yourself, Blake, I already serve in a variety of ways. Blake, I'm not really good with kids. Blake, I already have a very heavy schedule. Or I don't necessarily have a passion or gifting to work with kids on Wednesday nights. If you fall in any one of those things, that may be true. And that certainly might be God's will for you not to serve in that capacity. Every member of this church has different gifts, different emotional and energy capacity, and different seasons of life where there are ways that we can serve and ways that we can't. So I certainly do understand that. But in light of our most recent members meeting from Dorinda's announcement, I think I may have given a few words as well. One of the things that I want our church to continue thinking well about is the future. 3 years ago, we saw this church planted by the grace of God in one of the most unique, mysterious providences we've all ever experienced in our life, not to mention in the middle of a worldwide pandemic. But one of the things that we've done over the last 3 years as a church is lay down a strong foundation, a foundation on doctrine, a foundation on commitment, and a foundation on leadership and service. But now we're entering into that third into the fourth year. And I think what we're going to find out is that a lot of the cement that was once wet in the laying the foundation for our church is going to be largely dried and hardened and strong enough now to hold up a whole house. And so as we see throughout our ministry right now, we are thinking through things like student ministry, building a new church facility meeting space in the future, but also with the addition of new members comes opportunities for more volunteers to serve, but also more members to disciple. Well, in light of all that, some of our new members over the last 6 to 12 months have young children. And so once again, you've heard the saying, if you don't hear any crying in the church, you're probably sitting in a dying church. And so what we're really needing to think well about as a church family, especially as elders, is stewardship. Oftentimes when we think of stewardship, we think it's purely financial, and that's certainly true. But everything in our life is being entrusted to us by God, who owns everything. And that includes the souls, the families, the people that God entrusts to our care, to disciple, to minister to, and to love. Well, in light of that, in children's ministry, we are going to have, in projection, somewhere over 40 kids in our church building from the ages 5 to 6th grade on Wednesday nights. That number can certainly grow. But with that addition, we need more adult volunteers. And so I want to give you 6 reasons to prayerfully consider before you say no or I can't for whatever reason. 6 reasons you should consider volunteering in some capacity on Wednesday nights starting this fall. Number 1, volunteers have flexibility with the option to serve weekly or on a rotating basis. Options include biweekly, monthly, or as needed. And so one of the biggest sometimes scares that people have is that seems like a huge time commitment. Writing curriculum, teaching curriculum, all that stuff seems like very long and arduous, and I just can't do it. But one of the things that we want to say up front is, number 1, if you can't commit to serving every single Wednesday night for 8 or so months, you don't have to. You can serve once a month. You can serve on an as-needed sub basis. You can serve every other week. More hands to the plow will make it an easier load for everyone. And even if you're available for 50% of the time, that's certainly more helpful than 0. So just know there's flexibility on kind of the part-time, full-time, if you will, volunteer base. Number 2, Curriculum is simple to follow and teach. Each lesson includes scripture passages and narrative, as well as analogies and activity ideas that can be customized and incorporated as volunteers choose. In other words, you don't have to write the curriculum. You don't have to rewrite a sermon or a Bible study. It's given to you in a way that it's easy to follow, and you can customize it along the way as you see fit. Number 3, CCBC Kids Equipping Hour follows a modified school year calendar, breaking for summer and majority holiday breaks. It is held from 6 to 7 p.m. on Wednesdays. It's just a 1-hour commitment. It's not 2 hours like Sunday morning with childcare. It's not extended beyond that. It's just that 1 hour. Number 4, parents and grandparents can incorporate what they learn and use it to reinforce teaching time at home with their own children and grandchildren. In other words, it's a supplement to assist and encourage and to equip parents and grandparents on what we're already called to be doing in our kind of everyday home life. Number 5, Kids Equipping Hour gives volunteers a unique opportunity to build relationships with the children of CCBC and fellow church members. One of the reasons why every member of our church should consider at some point serving on a service team in a part-time or regular basis is not just to meet practical needs, but it's to get to know the members of this church. There's one thing to get to know someone face-to-face at a lunch, breakfast, dinner, or even over a Bible study or a small group. But there's also something to be said about serving side by side with someone. Sometimes people function and relate better through a task they do together. So if that's you, I would strongly encourage you to consider not being afraid of trying out a new service team or serving in a variety of ways that seem to fit where you're at in your season of life. And number 6, volunteers and children have the opportunity to sit under solid biblical teaching midweek. And so in our church's life, we have our main Sunday morning gathering, Sunday evening gathering, the 1st and 3rd of the month. There is a women's inductive Bible study on Tuesday nights and Wednesday mornings. Currently in the summer right now, there is a group of men meeting, about 20 to 30 men, studying through biblical masculinity. That's been more of a midweek thing. We've also had an adult equipping class go on from 6 to 7 o'clock for the last 2.5 years. That's taken on different variations from systematic theology to topical, to other things in related between. There's other ways that men and women are growing together. Some have organically started small groups. Some have kind of their own kind of Bible study or fellowship or prayer time over coffee or breakfast on Friday mornings. There's even a prayer gathering on Saturday morning, the 1st of the month, that Jeff Pruitt often leads. But in serving in children's ministry on Wednesday nights for the equipping hour, we're also getting another opportunity as we're teaching the kids to sit under sound teaching. And so if you are thinking to yourself, well, I don't know if that would really benefit me, or that's not really my style, or that's not really my gifting, I just want to help you rethink that mentality, because the Great Commission says making disciples of all nations. And one of the ways we make disciples is through evangelism and teaching. And our children, some of them may already be Christians, many of them may not be. But right now is one of the most crucial times for us as a church to pour into these young people for their own soul's well-being, for their family's well-being, for the encouragement of moms and dads. But it's also for the future and life of this local church. Because 5, 10, 15 years from now, we will all be 5, 10, 15 years older. But these young kids will then already be in high school. And 10 to 15 years, they will be in college and even beyond. So as you think about the future, as you think about investment, as you think about ways that you can serve in the life of our church, we have a need. And we have a need for people who are willing to serve in whatever capacity they can give, part-time, regular, or somewhere in between. And as always, often what we see as a ministry of us giving back to others, when you're working with young people, particularly children and students, the joy is often ours as we get to be a part of what God is doing and those God He's entrusted to our care. So prayerfully consider that. If you're interested, we have a meeting coming up. I believe it's on August 6th on Sunday afternoon for volunteers. Contact Dorinda Smith, our deaconess at Children's Ministry that gives oversight to that ministry. And we would love to see you there. God bless.